Well, speaking to the education side, when we were in DC, a woman came up to me who works for a congressional member, and she thought the discussions were so fascinating at the summit, especially about human rights and how it's being used as a tool to subvert these high remittance fees, and also the national security side. But then she asked me an interesting question. She goes, what should I tell my boss is the use case for Bitcoin today for the average person? How would you best summarize it? How would you answer that question?
I think for money, Bitcoin is superior savings technology. It's the best designed money in human history. And I think also, for the record, it's the first human engineered monetary instrument, by the way. I think people don't necessarily appreciate the fact that we didn't design gold, we found gold. We designed Bitcoin, so we built it for our own needs and interests, so it's not an argument. It's kind of a no-brainer of like, hey, why is this thing so cool? It's like, because we fucking made it with our hands, that's why. So I think it's the best money of all time, and you use money to save, you use money to protect purchasing power, you use money to trade, so all that money encompasses. I think that's the use case for Bitcoin, the asset, and as a monetary instrument, it's superior payments. I think it's public digital infrastructure for us all to interoperate. It removes the layers of abstraction and the intermediaries, which ends up driving value back towards those participating, which is super, super important. So yeah, I think it's superior payments and superior money.
I'm going to cut and paste that for her because that was a really good answer.
Go.
I think the savings tool aspect is really important, especially with inflation today and what's happening with banks. You're such a chill, relaxed guy, Jack. Any of the banking fragility have you up at night or anything? Or are you thinking, no, this is all great for Bitcoin?
No, it doesn't have me up at night. The Fed tried to kill me, but I own sats. Not today, Jerome, not today. No, it doesn't keep me up at night, but it's terrifying. I do think a lot about the state of society and humanity and civilization and what we're all generally up against, because despite passions and convictions, we're all human, and I'd love to see a peaceful resolution to what is turning into like warfare, arguably, both literally in a geopolitical sense and then practically people's savings being deprecated and inflated away. So I think, more commentary on what happened. The Fed ruined everything. I was on CNBC and Kelly Evans, who I love, and I know deep down she loves me back. Her and Tyler were trying to tell me that this banking crisis is deflationary. That's not the case. Of course it's not. It's the Fed's fault. The Fed blew up everyone's balance sheet. The Fed caused this, and the Fed has to then fix it. If they don't, then the whole thing's going to crumble. So by nature, then, it is inflationary. I've been calling out for a long time that the Fed is going to have to start to warn the market that inflation's not coming back down to 2%, and they're going to have to change their target, and those days are over, and now you're starting to see those headlines. So they're warming the market up to turn this thing around. The rates have to come down, and they're never going to get it back down to 2%, and that's why you're seeing gold as a leader start to break the 2,000 threshold, and it's holding and climbing, and Bitcoin is lagging behind that. Bitcoin's just going to be the far faster horse because it's got a lot of price discovery left. So I think anything that has a natural supply cap means that it doesn't have a direct relationship to interest rates. That's what you care about the most. Things like equities, stock market, the S&P have a relationship with interest rates. They have a relationship with the liquidity in the system. Things like everything between something like soybeans that you grow out of the ground all the way to Bitcoin, which is programmatically finite in its supply, will start to trade separately, and you're already starting to see it. So the market is just listening for the Fed to push out Wall Street Journal headlines that inflation's not coming back down to 2%. We don't know where it's going to land, but it's going to be higher than it's ever been, and the market's already starting to price that in. So I'd own Bitcoin, and I'd own anything scarce, I guess soybeans if you're into it, but anything that doesn't have a relationship to interest rates. The Fed screwed up, and it's the first time, by the way, that the Fed's credibility is so damaged, and you're seeing Russia, China, everyone's pouncing on the opportunity. None of this is a coincidence, guys. Like, they are getting aggressive because the Fed is on their heels. The Fed made big mistake. They was entirely mismanaged. It's entirely their fault. And so anyway, sorry, this is a bit of a ramble. It's everything that's in my head. It's a very terrifying time because our central bank screwed up, our opposition can now be aggressive. I feel like we are hands up in the corner of a boxing ring. We're waiting for the round to be over and for the referee to break it up, and we're just getting wailed at in the corner. And unless you own something that doesn't have a relationship to interest rates and that has a scarce supply, you're never going to afford anything.